Imagine there's no liberals. Imagine there's no Jews.
No.
Imagine there's no joggers. Always in the news. Imagine there's no people with brown melanin. Woo-hoo. Imagine Trump was Hitler.
The optics are washing over
Nazi
us.
Germany. Imagine this was our homeland. A country for you and for me. Imagine if we came first. Groypers all the way.
Oh, the cringe!
Fuentes leading the.
Oh no!
Bringing us to victory.
Alright. I don't know if I can do it.
Imagine.
So, yeah, cry all you want. It will make no difference. It will not affect me at all. I don't care how anybody feels about something like that. Now, when it came to the Kino Casino, mind you, I didn't do it because that would be a significant provocation, and I'm not trying to take it there with them. So even though I think, morally speaking, I do think there's a moral case for, I mean, they're accusing me of being a flagger, right? So if you're going to accuse me of being a flagger, then maybe I ought to actually flag you in retaliation. I mean, if you're going to accuse me of doing, you're going to slander me, you're going to drag my name through the mud, well then, okay, well, I think you could very easily make the case that it would then be justified too. Okay, well, if you're going to smear me as this, then you, but I didn't do that. I did not do that. I will not do that.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more! Where the f*** are your parents? Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!
It started off so innocent, so simple. Just A-logging a fat alcoholic pill-popping felon and the Mexican child leader of the white race. A-logging. They say A-logging never changes, but that was before Feaser, before the Fees-spiracy, before the Feasoning. Now A-logging will never be the same. Teddy got Feasered, and now Andy and I need to get to the bottom of it. I'm now declaring the Feaser Files are officially opened.
It makes no sense! Ashton, it makes no sense! The clues are here, but they don't line up! Daddy, 9/11, what does it mean? What does it mean? When is Gabe Hoffman fit into all of this? I don't know, is Feaser an alien? Is he? And every day is Saturday. They didn't flag us, I swear to God, they would never flag us. Well, I don't know. It's getting that. New York, what are these spots? What is it all? I don't get it. My brain's getting seized.
Andy, get a grip, man. Get a hold of yourself, man.
Ah!
All right, Andy. Let's just go over what we know so far. Let's just go over the facts once again. Put together what we actually know for certain. Okay? So our channel was flagged down once again. Flagged down for how? I don't even know how many times we've been flagged down now. But you know what YouTube tells us?
Mm-hmm.
Every day is Saturday. Copyright claimed us. Every day is Saturday. That's what they're saying. You know, it's case solved, right? Oh, it's every day is Saturday did it. Wrong. That's where it becomes an X-file. Because every day is Saturday have come out and said, plain as day, clear as crystal, they didn't flag us. They don't even know who we are. They have no clue what's going on. So who's the prime suspect? Teddy Feaser. Feaser flagged it down. Now, how do you know Teddy Feaser flagged it down? Where's the evidence? Well, we don't have the smoking gun evidence yet, but you know he flagged my Twitter. He flagged Zannyberry's Twitter, Andy. He flagged Keenashay's Twitter. He flagged Pot Awful's Twitter, and he openly admits to all of it. He doxed Porcelain. He doxed Keenashay. So he's doing all this shit. And then he says, he has the audacity when we question, wait a minute, did Feaser flag it down? Because it seems like he's the prime suspect. Innocent white family certainly didn't do it. Tell you that right now. When we question it, he goes, oh, I am justified to flag it down. So we're not supposed to think he flagged it down? Holy f***. So this is the situation we find ourselves in now. Teddy Feaser is the prime suspect in the flagging of our channel. But Andy, we don't have the smoking gun evidence. There's so much evidence pointing in that direction, but man, the case has gone cold, man. I don't know what we're gonna do. I just don't know, man. I just don't know.
Is that Discord?
No, Andy, it's the Kino Casino Investigative Hotline! Quick, answer it!
This is the Kino Casino Investigative Department hotline. Who am I speaking with today?
I'm risking everything to get to you today.
What?
I am Deep Fees.
Deep Fees.
What do you mean, your deep fees?
I've known Teddy Feaser for a very, very long time. My hands have been behind many of the movements you've seen recently. Unfortunately, I got feasered.
You yourself were feasered? We've been suspecting we were been feasered this week, and our videos flagged down by Teddy Feaser, but we don't have any smoking gun evidence he's been behind it.
I have all the evidence. I have everything. I can prove it all right here, right now, but...
We were looking for this.
We needed the receipts. We had suspicions. I mean, he said that he was justified in flagging it down, but you're saying you have the 100% smoking gun evidence that Teddy Feaser feasered us.
If you can keep my anonymity, I can give you everything you need.
Of course, yes.
100%.
No one will know who you are.
I have Feaser spooks on my tail 24/7.
I can imagine. We've heard rumors he's highly connected with the Jews.
The state of Israel is watching.
Oh my God.
This goes deeper than we ever imagined.
We might be going too deep, Ashton.
The fees goes so deep, you could say I'm also Fee's throat.
How do you know Teddy Feaser?
We met in middle school. We've known each other for a very, very long time.
Okay.
I grew up with Teddy. In fact, I was the one who gave him the nickname Teddy. Originally, everyone just called him Theodore, like a normal person. And I thought as a kid, he'd grow up and he'd go by Ted or Theo or, something like an adult would do. I had no idea he would just go by Teddy forever. We called him that as a joke because we thought he looked stupid, like a teddy bear, like he's harmless and gay.
Yeah. So you called him Teddy and then he ran with it for the rest of his life?
Yeah, he ran with it. We were the best of friends until the feasoning.
The feasoning. So what is the feasoning?
Well, I'm sorry. This is hard for me because in 8th grade, Teddy took me into the boys' bathroom and he locked the stall door.
No.
And he feasered me. He held me down and he feasered me against my will.
What a sick
A bastard. What a son of a bitch.
In high school, I wrote it off as, boys will be boys, feasers will feaser. But in high school, Teddy started getting racist. He started going up to the black kids and he would try to fease them too. And they would make fun of him.
Are you saying he was fees mixing?
He would fees mix. And what really got him? The black kids would say, "Ooh, white people don't use no feasing." That's what made him turn
racist
against them.
And then he's trying to fees them all, eh?
Would he blame it on the Jews that the black kids were mean to him?
Well, we had a Jewish geography teacher, and one day in class, Teddy raised his hand to answer the question. He thought he was the smartest kid in class. He thought, this kid got C's, he picked his nose, ate his boogers. It was one of the stupidest. Actually, he might be the dumbest I've ever met. But we had this Jewish geography teacher, and Mr. Sheckelberg. Mr. Sheckelberg called on Teddy one day, and he said, he's pointing to the map. He says, "What country is this?" And Teddy said, "Palestine." And Mr. Sheckelberg said, "No, that's Israel." And all the kids laughed at him. And ever since then, he hated the Jews.
We've heard rumors that he worked at Lockheed Martin. Can you confirm that he worked at Lockheed Martin?
Well, I worked at Lockheed Martin. I got Teddy a job there. I don't want to say exactly what it is I do, but so as not to dox myself. So as not to name dox myself specifically. But Teddy and I were good friends, and he needed a leg up. You know, he was working as what they called the diarrhea janitor at Taco Bell at the time. They specifically had a role just for him to clean up the bathrooms, specifically the diarrhea. And he came to me and he said, "Can you get me a job?" And I said, "Teddy, you're a CD student, you know, they're not going to hire you. You didn't even go to college." And he said, "Well, you got to help me save the white race." I said, "Listen, you know, I felt bad for the guy. So I got him a job there. They hired him at Lockheed. Actually, same role, the diarrhea custodian. A lot of people don't realize this, but they're much like Taco Bell. There's a big diarrhea department at Lockheed Martin. You know, when we test out the new vehicles, equipment, and things like that, a lot of people do either vomit or evacuate their bowels. So Teddy's job was to stand around with a big bucket full of diarrhea and clean it up with his hands. And again, he would do his hands like this when he would clean it.
Very spastic.
That's why he brought it over to his show. That's why he does it, because he's so used to it.
Well, how did the whole Red Pill Gaming, Red Pill Gang,
RPG
arc start? Like, how did he get involved with that?
Well, the RPG name actually started back when we were kids too. People would call him person gay guy, and it just stuck. That was the original name. It was while we were at Lockheed Martin that we were contacted. In fact, I was originally contacted by a spokesman for George Soros.
The George Soros?
The one and only. George Soros reached out to Lockheed Martin, and because of my position at the company, I happened to take the call. And you could imagine what a globalist like that may have in mind for a company like Lockheed. It was then that I had just actually come out of the bathroom right before taking this call, and I had been eating Taco Bell. And so I did have a bad case of diarrhea. So Teddy had gone into the bathroom after me to clean up, and he overheard this phone call with George. And of course, you know, I'm a normal, cool guy. I said no to George Soros, but not Teddy. Teddy heard that phone call. He apparently picked up my phone, hit redial, got the guy back.
What?
And this is how, he got George Soros back on the line, and he got George Soros connected to Lockheed Martin.
So are you saying that RPG works directly for George Soros? Was this RPG show all just an op by Soros to undermine the people criticizing Fuentes?
I can tell you this. There's dark money being filtered through RPG. George Soros owes RPG a favor. Teddy Feaser is sort of Soros's top guy.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me all this Jew hate is just a mask?
It is.
Oh my god. Oh.
Unfortunately, RPG has been compromised.
Was it George Soros who ordered our channel flag down earlier this week?
Directly.
Oh.
I saw Teddy Feaser accept in a manila envelope with my own eyes $50,000 from George Soros in a parking lot.
What happened after he took the $50,000?
I saw it with my own eyes. He started spinning dreidels. They started trading gelt with one another. George Soros lit a menorah. They did that horror dance. You know, actually, George Soros put Teddy on top of a chair and held him above his head. And I guess he used the strength given to him by drinking the adrenalized blood of children, because I've never seen a man just lift another man above him like that with such little effort. They sang Hava Nagila for about half an hour, and then I checked my phone and your channel had been struck.
What? Why on God's green earth did every day Saturday get blamed for flagging us?
Isn't it obvious, Andy? Every day is a Saturday. Jews worship Saturday. It's the Sabbath for them. You think they want this white family saying every day is the holiest day of the week?
How could we have been so blind?
Dear God!
It was all there in front of you the whole time, and you couldn't even see it!
Listen, we're confused. We don't know. We don't know how deep this goes.
Think, Andy, think!
I'm trying.
Open your eyes. The truth has been there the whole time. You think you just get Feasered and Teddy's behind it? No!
The Fees has been out there the whole time.
There are much, much darker forces at play here.
Dear God!
Wait. I've got new info just came. This is incredible. This is insane. This blows the doors off the entire thing. Oh no.
What?
They're tracing the line. They're watching this call right now.
No, how?
My cover's been blown. I have to go.
But wait a minute, Andy. How can we know that anything that Deep Fees told us is actually true? I mean, it sounds good. It sounds like it's true. I mean, it all fits together. It makes sense, but he still hasn't really provided any evidence to us of any of these claims.
Wait! I just opened up our Microsoft Outlook email. The Kino Casino email. He just sent me something. We put it on the main screen for us. Oh my God.
That's Teddy Feaser! In the flesh, accepting the $50,000 payment from George Soros to flag our channel, Andy! That's the smoking gun evidence!
I knew it! I knew that bastard was working with Soros from the beginning! I swear to God! Beep.
We did it!
Ocean man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand.
Thanks to Deep Fees, we solved the case. Feaser was the flagger all along. And beyond that, he did it on the orders of George Soros for the sum of $50,000 in a manila envelope. We had the smoking gun evidence photograph, which blew the case wide open. And soon, we would go live on Kino Casino and expose the truth to the whole world. But one thing still bothered me. What was Gabe Hoffman's involvement in all of this? Well, I did some crack investigative journalism on Ancestry.Jew and learned Gabe Hoffman was actually second cousins twice removed with George Soros himself. These sneaky Jews are all related and always working together to keep us down. It now made sense all along why Gabe Hoffman was sending us super chats. It was to help George Soros' stooge, RPG, frame us as the Jewish shills, to deflect from the truth of RPG's Jewish puppet mission to destroy the casino for Soros. Now confident we have this case solved, I now declare the Feaser Files officially closed.
Wait a second. If he received $50,000 George Soros, why does he still live in his parents' basement? Ashton, if he received $50,000 from Soros, then why did he still live in his parents' basement? Riddle me this, Ashton.
You goddamn son of a bitch. You're fucking right, man. Andy, it's the hotline. It's the hotline.
You've reached the Kino Casino Investigative Department.
There's no time for that. Listen to me carefully right now. I've risked everything to be here and to tell you guys this. I've been compromised. My base has been surrounded. Remember these words. Look under the hat. Gabby Petito, the Feasoning, Dancing Israelis, Jew Magic, Q, Chrome Dome. Okay, trust no one.
What the
I think.
Are you there?
Fees.
He's
I
been
think he
feased?
was Feaser.
Oh no. Did you write that?
Yeah, so he
Oh my
said,
God, it just...
look under the hat, Gabby Petito, the
Chrome
Feasoning, Jew Magic, Q, Chrome Dome, trust no one. What does it mean?
What the
We need to look into this. These are the keywords, these are the phrases, these are the clues that are going to lead to us cracking this conspiracy. We knew there was more to it, Andy. It didn't make sense.
This goes...
Why, as you said, would he still be living in his mother's basement if he got $50,000? We need to look into this further.
0 sense. Wait, Ashton. I just got an email from Deep Fees. Look at this. Look.
Wait a minute. That's RPG with the manila envelope from earlier, Andy. But that's not $50,000 in there. You were right, man. It wasn't $50,000. It's some sort of document, some sort of like letter or something. Okay, we gotta figure this out, man. Deep Fees left us these final clues. We gotta start to solve it. Once we figure out those clues, we're gonna figure out why RPG flagged our channel. Why did he do it?
Tits.
No, Andy, it's not tits, for f***'s sake. Look, we have to look at the clues here. Okay, the first one, under the hat. Wait a minute, Andy. We have to do an AI recreation of what RPG looks like under the hat.
Way ahead of you, buddy. Oh my God.
He was bald the whole time. Gabby Petito, Andy, wait a minute. Gabby Petito, she was murdered in a gruesome fashion, a very, very explicit fashion. She had her liver removed, but not with any sort of scalpel or anything like that. It's a complete X-file. It's unexplained. Her liver seems to have been removed by a human hand. And Andy, I was looking into this. I was researching. It seems like there were 8 other cases in the New York City area of women that have had their liver removed in the last few months.
Ashton, look. What? Oh my God!
Those are the locations of the victims!
What the
Wait a minute. I've read about this on JewMagic.org.
Uh-huh.
This is a secret Jew magic ritual called the Feasoning. And what it does is that a man can regrow his hair
Okay.
if he eats the livers of 9 different women.
Really?
But the thing is, the man who eats those 9 livers to regrow his hair becomes a twisted, demonic, Jewish golem creature called the Feaser.
Pardon me?
That's always spurging and never chilling out. And because of that spurging, the Jews will obtain complete world domination. It's so clear to me now, Andy. Feaser traded flagging down our channel to George Soros in exchange for the secret to the Feasening ritual. But he was tricked by Soros. If he eats that 9th liver, he'll become the Feaser, and the whole world will be dominated by George Soros.
You gotta be kidding me.
We have to stop it, Andy. The only way, Andy, to stop the Feasening is to blow a Feasing horn. And Andy, I don't know, man. The only Feasing horn in existence is in the tomb of Lord Rothschild. I don't know what we're gonna do. The world's doomed.
I got it, bro. We go to the Rothschild's chambers and we steal one.
You son of a bitch. Let's do it. I'm in.
Let's go!
Andy, the Feaser must be vanquished. Sound the Feasing horn.
The Feaser Files went deeper than we ever imagined when we first began work on this case. It turned out Teddy Feaser, tormented by his baldness and the bullying he received for it, became so desperate that he turned to George Soros and Jew magic rituals to cope. It turned out Teddy Feaser was 4 things. He was bald, a murderer, a Jewish puppet, and most of all, a spurg. We thought Teddy Feaser was a conspiracy mastermind, but in the end, he was just another monster of the week. And hopefully, the Feaser Files are now closed for good. And now the Feasening as told by Porcelain.
Despite having constructed his entire channel on the pre-existing foundations of established A-loggery, RPG decided he ought to be given far more personal credit for his efforts. He would come to the flawed understanding that, having clipped or screenshotted other people's content, he was now in direct ownership of it. Frustrated with the widespread use of what he believed were now his clips and screenshots, RPG would begin watermarking other people's content in a shameless act of self-promotion. He would also be lured by the prospect of going viral with tweeted grabs plastered with his stage name, believing this would in some way move the needle for him. In response, a number of A-logs would begin lightly mocking RPG by watermarking his own tweets, content, and even his Twitter account, claiming ironic ownership of RPG's entire online presence. It all amounted to a little light-hearted fun in hopes of checking his rapidly inflating ego. RPG would react with a number of extended seethe streams, angrily justifying his actions between bouts of shaking hyperventilation, whilst classifying any gay log mildly prodding him as mortal enemies dedicated to taking him down. His dramatic overreaction would draw the attention of the Kino Casino, a much larger channel RPG had previously channeled his rabid indignation towards, often accusing them of pilfering the content he'd himself pilfer. This despite PPP and Warski repeatedly offering RPG a guest spot on their much larger platform and promoting his channel ad nauseum. It appeared the fees was hard to please. Meanwhile, having long ago been doxed by the likes of Black Swan and the rest of AF's pro-doxing sussy squad, RPG's name Teddy Feaser was at this point a known entity. Groypers made sure to spread this information far and wide, with almost every prominent cozy TV streamer broadcasting his name at every opportunity. RPG, a defector from Nick's movement following a public humiliation ritual in which he was ejected by his political idol live on the kill stream, was now well primed for AF's unique brand of life ruination. Having witnessed his amusing overreaction during the Watermark Wars, A-logs saw a potential thread in RPG's psyche worth pulling. They would begin with a series of amusing puns on the objectively hilarious name Teddy Feaser, speaking of such things as getting feasered, and referring to something they'd call the feasening. They'd even begin using fees as a verb of ambiguous meaning. Generally speaking, the mockery was incredibly light-hearted and innocuous, with the occasional inclusion of RPG photoshops showing a bald head and spectacles. RPG's reaction was one of total and utter meltdown. He'd accused them of spreading a dox that was, in effect, already widespread information. But to give RPG a little latitude, his express goal at this point seemed to be more of an attempt to mitigate the spread beyond the walls of the sector, albeit an attempt ridden with hopeless futility. But as a former Groyper who had attended AFPAC whilst rubbing shoulders with the who's who of America First, it's fair to say that particular horse had long ago bolted. RPG would declare total war on anybody daring to lightly fease a pun, often going on lengthy and deranged rants alluding to an organised faction of online antagonists hell-bent on destroying him. Those same psychological threads, gently pulled by overly amused A-logs, had now become handfuls of demented wool, with RPG hand-feeding trolls way past the point of gluttonous engorgement. He had essentially Streisanded his own name into mainstream existence at a time where some degree of self-deprecation and humility would have been by far the more sensible and strategic choice. He could very well have taken control of the narrative by owning these objectively inoffensive plays on his name. He could have even profited from it if he had exercised any sense of social intelligence towards this, but instead he coped, he seethed, and he feased. After months of unrelenting Feaser posting and subsequent gay log rants, PPP and Andy Warski, hosts of the e-drama show The Kino Casino, decided to join in on the Feaser festivities. Having unearthed an utterly embarrassing video of a Groyper-era RPG singing a parody of John Lennon's Imagine, substituting the existing lyrics with such things as Fuentes leading the pair chose to close their show by playing the video in their Moment of Zen segment. RPG's reaction was to dedicate 6 hours of obsessive lunacy to the Kino Casino, accusing them of siding with his enemy combatants and snaking on their dear friend Teddy. He'd cut the figure of a deeply paranoid Spurg lacking anywhere near the degree of self-awareness and backbone so often needed in these circles. Once again, he would resort to hysterical escalation and overreaction to what was barely any sort of tangible provocation at all. This only served to further engulf the flames already licking at his feet, with PPP and Warski dedicating an hour of their next show to lampooning the wild exacerbation of Teddy's Feaser mania. The show would become a manifestation of RPG's Streisanding of his own name, with over 1,000 viewers Feaser posting in his chat, myself being one of them. Having super chatted the Kino Casino with such things as, "Can you feel how the fees clings to the air?" before following with the posting of the words "fees and desist" in their chat, RPG decided I was now the prime target of his festering delirium. He would accuse me of spreading a dox that, at this point, was way beyond the realm of privacy. His claims of attempting to mitigate the spread would, however, fall on deaf ears following his retweeting of a meme containing his full name a day later. RPG would then attempt to engage with me in DMs, accusing me of gaslighting him with an overly aloof attitude and rebuffing my attempts at de-escalation with a series of highly embarrassing manic outbursts. He'd interpret my refusal to take his raging sanctimony seriously as some sort of personal assault, boldly asserting that he is simply not to be made fun of under any circumstances. His obsession towards me would seem to be birthed from a misunderstanding on his part that we were engaged in some sort of blossoming friendship. We were not, and despite my continued refusal to match his energy, as if that were even possible, he would continue his descent into madness nonetheless, dedicating a 5-hour stream to reading my every single comment during this entire exchange. With Teddy Machete having begun by waving a blunt letter opener at his webcam whilst bopping like a f***ing idiot to Kanye jungle tunes, he would resort to the reading of his own excruciating DMs to myself, claiming repeatedly that this was in fact not embarrassing. He'd shake uncontrollably throughout, having to calm himself down multiple times whilst openly admitting to his pitifully poor adrenaline control. And having dedicated 40 hours in a Telegram group chat, digging for scraps of identifiable information, even requesting a DM from the internet's Mersh to aid his efforts, he'd continue by tweeting what he found to his 3,000 followers, before repeating it continuously throughout his kickstream. And all to prove the completely non-equitable point that offering 2 incredibly mild Teddy puns amongst an ocean of fees was somehow the same as rooting through your trash bag for 2 days straight. And whilst I didn't particularly care given I had already been doxxed 5 years prior, the behaviours exhibited were nonetheless a worrying turn indeed. Having attempted at length to reason with the fees privately, Jaden McNeil, formerly a close friend of Nick Fuentes, was left with little choice but to offer Teddy a litany of constructive advice on his livestream, imploring RPG to take stock of what he's doing before it's too late. As a close confidant to RPG engaged in the same crusade against a federally compromised homosexual and his battalion of pint-sized sycophants, Jaden would nonetheless stress his fondness towards him, pleading that he simply wants what's best for RPG, even if the truth is difficult to hear. Jaden would even concede ground in many areas, even offering sympathetic overtures regarding his recent feasoning. To Jaden, RPG was at this point exhibiting many Ralph-like impulses, and it was hoped his intervention might finally raise a much-needed mirror to his actions. In keeping with his tendency to wildly overreact, RPG would take these words as an open act of aggression, declaring Jaden as the most recent object of his frenzied fixation. Having already committed himself to the mass flagging of multiple YouTube channels and Twitter accounts who dared mock the complete mental breakdown of a certifiable lolcow, in addition to the spreading of multiple doxes, including his own during a stream in which he'd repeatedly and rather enthusiastically bellow his own name, thus rendering his entire mitigating the spread malarkey well and truly moot, his transformation was at this point far too advanced to reverse course. He would first remove his entire moderation team, a trusted enclave of his most treasured well-wishers who committed the sin of offering genuinely good advice. He'd then spread the docs of one of Jaden's more prominent donors, Ultros, a tactic often employed by the same groypers he was now attempting to reconcile with, before flagging the accounts of Podawful and Zannyberries out of existence. And with RPG even reduced to actively accepting a truce with Ethan Ralph, the man who significantly contributed to the unveiling of his entire family, a truce simply born out of spite over the sins of his most recent detractors, many in his live chat had seen enough. With his largest donors now jumping ship and any sense of community support reducing him to alliances with the very same collective of deranged cultists he had dedicated a year to exposing, it's fair to say Teddy Feasers had a pretty bad week.